All right, all right, all right. All right. Hey, everybody. Y'all know me. My name is LaGina R. Harris. I am the founder of the Us Space, and I'm really excited about being here. One, we all know this is like a big deal because this is like the third or fourth month in a row we've been doing AMA.
Yes.
And we are, for the first time, streaming live on YouTube as well. So we'll see how it goes. This person makes me brave. So that's why I was like, we're going to do it because I'm going to just show up with two cameras and she's going to do it. So before I dive into introducing my guest, I want to make sure that I just talk about why we're doing this. So the Us Space, we call this AMA now because that's what ChatGPT has coined this, but it's Ask Me Anything for Business and it's live, right? And the sessions are really to spotlight our members in the community, the things they're doing, us to laugh about lessons we didn't learn. We were just laughing about a couple of them. It's fine. Laughing about the ones we did learn and just sharing our general business knowledge. So that's the really exciting thing about what we're doing. And so before we dive into all that, let's talk about what's happening at the Us Space. We have a lot going on. We, of course, at the top of the year, we did a very successful incubator with Hot House Coffee. And now we're doing call to action for more incubators. So if you have a goods business or a maker's type creative business or wellness business, we want to talk to you. We want you to join the Us Space, be a member, and consider incubating with us. So that you have some accountability, so you have the love of community, and so that you can get your business into a revenue generating sustainable growth pattern. And as you figure it out, we're figuring it out. It will be our second round of incubators. So you're more than welcome to come and do that. We also have tons of community highlights. You need to check out our newsletter. Our newsletter is fire. Shout out to our community manager, Haydée. She's been holding it down for our newsletter. So that's a really big one. And then, of course, for the second year in a row, the Us Space is doing an activation called Tuss House. It's a 3-day activation where you can come in and network, panels, firesides, what else? Co-working. Everything. And we are centrally located in downtown Houston. So you're in the middle of all the action happening that week, which happens to be the week of Afrotech. So the 28th, 29th, and 30th, the Us Space, we will be having our own activation called Tuss House. And it is free to the public. If you want to be involved or volunteer or sign up, get ready. And that's what's pretty much going on at the Us Space. You can always come down, check us out. We have Work Accountability Day every third Wednesday, open to the community. Sign up, come to the Us Space, plug in and power up. So that's what we have going on. All right. So now I'm going to do my due diligence and we're going to invite some people in. And I'm also going to introduce our guest because she's so fire. I don't need to do too much, but we'll talk through it. We'll talk through it. So I sent that to some people. When you get in, invite people, all those things. Okay. So I'm really excited for today because we have Rozella and doctor.
No.
Why do I keep telling you you're a doctor?
Well, because I started my PhD studies, but I we haven't even had a big conversation about that. And it's a part of the future plan.
Okay. Yeah, well, I am speaking things into existence because that's what we do around here. So future Dr. Rozella White, and she's just an amazing human. I feel like I've met her many times over, so that's a really unique thing. And today she is not only a member, an active member of the Us Space, but she is also just like a powerhouse, a leader, and she's definitely a truth teller. She has that in her bio, but it's a true thing. And I love when I read stuff in people's bios and it's true, right? So she's a truth teller. And she is known as the Love Big Coach. I'm going to let you break that down.
I feel like the younger generation does the thing.
They do it. I can't figure out that one.
I don't know, but we'll go with this.
Yeah, I'm a millennial. So the Love Big Coach, right? And she also embodies what we talk about at the Us Space and what we encourage. So it's the pause when you need to pause because there ain't nothing wrong with that. It is the pivot and it's the moving forward with some type of purpose in what you're doing and not just always having a non-strategic plan. You can be intentional and move forward and pivot and have the supportive community. So you definitely embody like what the us space really wants to do. So I'm really excited to talk to you today. So
Hey, y'all. I'm so excited to be here and to be in conversation with you.
Yeah, cool. I'm excited too, y'all. I got my notes, so we're going to keep going. All right. So I want to do an icebreaker with you.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just warm things up a little bit. Let's bring you into like the human zone, because not only the people that are watching are the people that are going to catch us later, because we know it's noon and that sometimes people want to actually lunch. It's a thing now to go actually and eat and put your mental health and nutrition in front. Yes. So this is what we're doing. So what is one ritual or practice that helps you stay grounded during transitional periods? And talk through what transitional periods look like.
Oh, wow. So I would say a ritual or practice that I've taken on, especially in the last probably 5 years, is painting by numbers. And I mean, it's a thing, right? And I've found, of course, because I am who I am, I always find women-owned, BIPOC-owned, queer-owned small businesses to support. And so the one that I found has images of Rosa Parks and Michelle Obama and all of those things, along with travel scenes. So that is a ritual for me, because it really helps me get out of my head, which my father would say, I need to stay out of my head. And it's something that I can spend time doing and lose track of time while I'm doing it. And so that's an exciting thing for me. And transition, what does transition look like? It looks like being in the liminal space, right? Being in that in-between space where something has ended, but maybe what's coming has not quite been revealed. And it's not a comfortable place to be in. Most of us don't like being in that space.
So it's undefined.
It is undefined.
Interesting.
It's almost like a holding container. And what I found about those liminal spaces is that they invite us to reflect,
cry.
They invite us. I mean, tears are always a part of it. I'm a Cancer sun and a Pisces moon, so I'm crying all the time. And it invites us to really start to listen and retune our ears and our spirits to the voices within, so that we can get clarity as we move forward.
When you say listen, are you talking about listening to yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
about listening to our intuition. And I'm really big on that, because we are told so much externally. And sometimes we take the external over what we know in our bones, because we haven't built or cultivated the trust in ourselves to do so. So that's what transition looks like for me.
Yeah, I think for me, what I'm really starting to acknowledge is that I'm transitioning right now, and I'm a Cancer. That's all I know. I love the moon, the low lighting, parks, walks at night. I don't know. Yeah, I'm a true Cancer. Like, if you put Cancer in, that's me. But what I'm learning about transitioning is that I seem fine. And so I have to, like, I told somebody the other day, or I said passively, I was like, oh yeah, I have really bad anxiety, so I'm not going to be at this event too long. My social is already burned out. I'm here because so-and-so, and then I'm gone. And they're like, you just seem like everything's cool. And I think that there's something to be said about how somebody presents, because I'm not putting on. Because if you ask me and we sit down, I'm telling you all of it. But transitioning for me is me making sure that my physical isn't reacting to what's going on, because I apparently hold things in and I get tense and tight. So what I've been doing is, in the morning before I get out of bed, I've been stretching. It's the simplest thing ever, but my body pops and cracks. And I think it's because when I'm sleeping, I'm not fully relaxing. I'm really starting to tap into that. And so that is what I do while I am acknowledging that I'm transitioning, and really listening to what the universe is giving me. I say that with all the eye rolls. Y'all can't, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm intimidated right now. Okay, so this is a good one. If this next chapter in your life had a theme song, what would that theme song be?
Honestly, because I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
It would be Golden by Huntrix from K-Pop Demon Hunter.
I thought she was going to say Golden by Jill Scott. I was like, live my life like it's golden. Okay. Can you give us a bar?
Sing. I'm down hiding. I'm gonna be basically who I was meant to be, born who I was meant to be.
Oh, okay.
Gonna be golden for my K-pop Demon Hunter fans out there. You'll know the song.
Okay.
And if not, go listen to it. The whole soundtrack, it bangs. So,
Okay.
I sing it all the time. I have a 10-year-old niece, and so we watch that movie and the sing-along
you're such a good auntie, because I tell my nephew, no, thank you. I tell my nephew, no, thank you. I'm like, you go up to the room and watch that yourself.
It's so good.
My song, and this has been my song for a while, it just keeps becoming more and more true as we just progress on in what's going on in this beautiful world right now, is it's called Earth is Ghetto.
Oh.
I would sing it and I can sing, but I'm going to cite the lyrics because I feel like it's more powerful. So it's like, Earth is ghetto, I want to leave. Can you beam me up from out on the street by the corner store, you know, the one on 15th? I've got a bright short shirt on and people are waiting for me. And then it, you know, she later talks about, I got 5 on fuel. If you're riding too deep, I'll sit in the back.
Oh, wow.
It talks about like people are lying, stealing and cheating. And you should see how we treat people. And I'm not from here and Earth is ghetto. I want to leave.
Okay.
It's a really good song.
Okay.
So okay.
Like Awkward Black Girls Unite.
Yes.
Earth is Ghetto anime. Here you go.
Ghetto, I want to leave. Okay. I love that. So the best advice you've given to a coaching client that you also needed to hear yourself, and while you're thinking, I'll say pretty much anything that I tell somebody in business advising and mentoring, I'm just talking to myself because I am I don't want to call it a hypocrite, but I can give people advice and then retrospectively I'm like, oh,
that was for me. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. They always used to say, what, those who can't do, teach.
Yeah.
And I can't do shit. Like, those who can't do now coach. Like we use but no, seriously, we're actually good, great, phenomenal coaches with expertise. But there is that sense that when you're coaching, especially when you're locked in, what you're sharing, at least for me, is coming from a place that is not just for the person I'm engaging, but also for me in that moment, because in the coaching relationship, it's a co-created process to begin with. So I would say for me, the best, I don't even want to say advice, because I don't know that I give advice as much as it's an invitation. And it's an invitation for people to remember who they are, whose they are, and why they are. Yeah. And then I think it's laced with the practicing of compassion, mainly for yourself, because I don't know about you, but the clients I attract are also people who are very much like me. And we can be so hard on ourselves. And so to remind people that we're practicing compassion constantly. And I would say that that's probably a ritual that I have as well. Is practicing compassion. Yeah. I don't know if I have rituals. I try to just remain sane. And I guess that's a ritual in itself. Yes, absolutely. So, and you know, I think there's some distinction and definite things around coaching, mentoring, and advising. And I always tell people I'm not a coach just because I know that there's certifications and things you go through for that. And mine is like the advising of a hard knock, right? Yeah. And the mentorship, because we all know I believe in mentorship and really having somebody that curates and can support your entire brain and not just the business aspect, or not just you as a woman or a single person or a parent or a man, whatever it is. So I really like that part. So when you think about your coaching, why does somebody need a coach? Oh, so the way that I think about coaching is having someone who accompanies you and who is really there for you. Right. And I always talk about the difference between coaching, mentoring, counseling, right? Those things. So if you're seeking out therapy, right? Therapists are trained to diagnose mental health issues. And most of therapeutic support is rooted in something that happened in your past that's continuing to show up in your present, right? Mentoring, which LaGina is phenomenal at, is really about not only advice giving, but helping people see what's possible and providing insights into that as they're moving along the journey. And a lot of times we seek out a mentor who is where we want to be or is embodying things that we want to embody ourselves. So it's like, how did you get there? What did you do? How can I do this? Right? Coaching, I say, is different because it's a co-created process. And so when you come to me or you come to a coach, you're bringing yourself, and that is more than half of what we're going to be, what's going to be leading us in our sessions. And so I use two analogies. I say one is if you think about archaeologists, right? And archaeologists go into a dig and they have their tools, and then they're there with their tools gently brushing away anything that's getting in the way or covering up what was. And that's the goal of a coach, right? To help clear out what's getting in the way of you becoming who you want to be. The other example I use is if we're going on a hike, right? And I am there with you. I'm not your Sherpa. I'm not carrying your stuff, but I am there with you, right? As you're doing the journey, we're mapping out the journey together.
Okay.
We're thinking about what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, what we need for the journey, and we're doing it together.
Okay.
And then if we get to an impasse, right, and we have to figure out how to get from here to here, my job is to help you with all the tools that you have, build the bridge that takes you from point A to point B. The thing that I often add that I say makes me slightly different than a lot of coaches is that so much of my work is steeped in the power of reflection. So not only are we going on this journey together, but I'm constantly inviting you to look back. Those who are familiar with the Sankofa kind of way of thinking out of our West African siblings is like you look back, you retrieve what you forgot in order to bring forward what you need, but you leave back there what no longer serves you. So my job as a coach is not to tell you what to do, is not to even give you advice. It's to ask questions with the sole purpose of you learning to trust your intuition, learning to lean into your inherent wisdom, and then providing the support as you move forward. And there's so many different types of coaching that people do, right? But that's like the ethos of really good coaching. So if you have a coach and they talk more, or they're giving you more advice than they're asking you questions, that's not coaching.
Yeah, that sounds, so what I wrote down that really differentiated the two for me, because I struggle with the difference. And the thing that you said that I was like, I get it. You saw the pen come out, y'all, is the do it together. And I think that that's something, I know that that's something that coaches do. I am the official coach of my nephew's soccer team. I'm back in the coaching, and I'll be up and down the field with them, you know? And when I coach softball and I think about some good coaches I've had in the past, they do with you, and they're taking you through, and they're pulling things out of you. And, you know, I have considered doing some type of coaching certification because I end up doing some of that naturally.
You're a coach naturally.
Yeah. But the mentoring thing is definitely supporting and telling you what you need to do. And then you need to use your discernment to pull back, because I say that the amount of people I mentor, I always say, take what you feel like you need and then throw the rest out. But I also am a support, and I also tell people I am not doing this for you. Yeah. So I think that there's levels of, for sure. Yeah. Okay. So let's move into the Ask Me Anything segment, like business owners helping business owners and all that kind of stuff. So you did something really courageous recently, and you wrote an email and you told people, I'm fucking changing it up. That's what I read. Okay. Yeah. And so there's a couple people in our community that read it, and I read it, and so did Chipity, best friend. And so our Ask Me Anything segment that we do, there are some questions that are submitted in advance, and really that's Coffee Talk Shop over here in our 400 side, the side where we do most of the work. This is more of our chill zone. And then some of these are just out of conversations we've had. And then the other ones are just random. Okay. But the first one, this one was submitted. And after 24 years of non-stop leadership, how do you know when it's time to slow down or pivot? And I want you to define slowing down and pivoting into a new season. And also let's kind of get rid of the new season word, because I feel like there's 4 seasons in a year. Sometimes people say 5, but we often talk about seasons. Yeah. But there's not this long acknowledgement of just the actual journey.
Yes.
So,
yeah. Yeah. So I love this question, because I think that slowing down happens before a pivot, right? Like if we allow ourselves the space and the time to simply slow down, because slowing down allows us to reflect. It allows us to check in with our bodies. It allows us to really take stock of where we've been and what we want. And if the thing that we set out with intentionally are still things that we want right now, right? But we can't do that if we don't slow down. Now, slowing down.
Hold on, go back.
Oh,
go
sorry.
back. Y'all, we getting some stuff for free. So business owners helping business owners. She costs money, but she here is part of her membership of the Us Space. We asked y'all to sit on camera, so go back. Talk about that again, slowing down.
Yeah. And as a Black woman, right, as an Afro-Latina, slow is not in my family's lexicon.
DNA.
Right? It's not a part of who we are. And some of that has been because of survival, right? There wasn't really time to stop and assess and, kind of move through things in a leisurely way, if you will.
Yeah.
You're going, you're creating, you're doing, you're providing, you're supporting. In this season of my life, though, I get the benefit of all of the ancestral work and wisdom and just what I know is true about me.
Yeah, you took a nap the other day.
I sure did. The Us Space, y'all, has a nap space.
She was gone.
And it's like, I'm pointing to where it's at, but it's a beautiful space for a midday nap. And I'm a nap person anyway.
Yeah,
But I think that slowing down also it could come easily or it could come a little bit more abruptly, right? And I would say one of the times I slowed down was because my health gave out. Like it literally told me, you've got to slow down. In this season of my life, though, I think that I'm a little less stubborn. So I pay attention to the signs more than I would have, say, 20 years ago. So I knew coming into this year that there was something that was shifting. I just didn't know what, but I paid attention.
Yeah.
LaGina and I were in a program together earlier this year, and I think that program also created some space for me, even though there was a lot that went into it, because I was actually focusing in on my goals, on my values, on what I want for this next season. I think turning 44 this summer did something too, because then I'm like, knock on wood, between this year and next year, I'm kind of at the halfway point in my life. Right?
Yeah, it did a thing to you.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I do appreciate about just the Us Space in general is that everybody's in different life points, and it feels like everybody's comfortable sharing it and doing that shared knowledge thing, like you were talking about. Like it's not in the DNA to sprint anymore. And I would say that our community is interestingly diverse. Like we don't have to say diverse and make sure that there's 5 brown skin tones. You're going to find 5 different brown skin tones in here, but diversity of thought, of age, stage, even stage. Like we have grandmothers and we have super aunties. We have uncles and we have dads that demand that we do movie night not on the Fridays that they have their kids. So we have this really interesting and fun community. And I think that that's one of the things that plays into it, because as I was watching you go through that, I was like, okay, I think that like my sister passed away at 40 and this year I turned 40. And so I'm kind of going through something.
Yes.
And I'm like, shit. So it's interesting being in a place where you can express that. And it's like, oh, cool, I've done that. Let me tell you about it. So,
yeah. And I think also, I would be remiss to not talk about, or at least mention, LaGina's like, you're really struggling with this perimenopause, because that has knocked me back as well.
Yeah.
Right. So I think before I even got to the pivot to that email, there was probably 6 months of like, that reflection of what is it that I really want. Also, when I moved home 9 years ago, there was some key things that I moved home for, to support my brother with his oldest kids, to be present for my parents, and then the things that I didn't know would happen. I didn't know COVID would happen. I didn't know that we would have so many family members that died. My background is in ministry, so I was doing a ton of funerals. I didn't know that I would get sick and then get out of commission with a heart condition. So there were all of these things that happened over the last 9 years. And I think as I entered into this year in this particular chapter, it was like, okay, where am I? Who am I? What is it that I want? What is it that maybe no longer serves me? And then what can I do differently as I move forward?
Yeah, I just clicked the button. I thought it was going to do something like really producer-y, but then I realized I didn't put anything in. Sorry, y'all. I'm doing the tech stuff too. Okay. So to move forward,
Mhm.
you're in this transitional space. And so going back to this question, those 24 years, and we talked about slowing down, but pivoting into the new season or into the journey. Somebody's giving us fire signs. Y'all, look, this, I know we're talking deep, but like we are, yeah, it's good stuff. We're humans. And, you know, the whole point of this AMA is to laugh and get time to pause for a second. So you've gone through things, you're going through them, you're able to slow down, right? And now you're moving into this pivot. Okay, so let's walk through that.
Absolutely. And I think going back to an earlier question about something I've told my clients that I also take in myself, I always say it's never too late to change your mind or to shift course.
Ooh.
It never is.
I love that. I used to say on my radio show, I say I reserve the right to change my opinion.
Absolutely.
Because I was always nervous that, you know, you're recorded. And some people are like, well, you used to say da-da-da-da-da. And so I love that.
But also what I was saying at 20, I hope I'm not necessarily saying it at 44.
Hello.
Like, I mean, there are some things that remain the same or that evolve, right? But then there's some things that change. Ideas change, opinions change, seasons change. What you want, what you need changes. There was a season in my life where I was a wife and a stepmom. That is not the season of my life now. So there are things that I get to do that are different. So for me, the permission that I try to give others, I'm taking for myself to say, guess what? You get to do what you want and what you need in this season. And so that kind of makes the pivot, I don't want to say easier, but it's not complicated because I get to change my mind. I get to shift course. And changing course doesn't mean that all of this stuff over here is no longer valid or is no longer a part of my expertise or my lived experience. It just means that I'm taking that with me in another direction.
I love that. You reserve the right. Yeah, I love that. And I think that's something in business you have to be very mindful of. You know, you have your core function, your foundation, but reserve the right to move, change, pivot, pause, all the things, whatever you're going to call it, and do it with 10 toes down, because ain't nobody else going to do it for you.
And I think at the end of the day, I mean, and I say this with my full chest, fully throated, like, I don't really care what people think. Like, I care what I believe about myself. I do care what those who are closest to me think or believe. But even in that caring, that's not what ultimately leads my decision. And anyone who doesn't know me, I really don't care because
you don't know me.
I mean, like
interesting.
That's part of it too. So
yeah, that's good stuff. Okay, I'll be writing this stuff down. When you watch the playback, make sure to leave comments. Again, I am here with the future Dr. Rozella White, a member of the US Space, and we are kicking it for our AMA Ask Me Anything for Business, where we talk through our challenges and joys and laughs and woes in business, and also share them. If you have a thought or a question, put it in the chat. If you're liking what you see, do the hearts, the emojis, subscribe on YouTube, all the things. Okay, so this is, and we're in the segment Ask Me Anything, and this one is one that I kind of wrote up about you being a faith-based leader, right? What lessons for faith-based leadership and nonprofit work has shaped or will shape or is going to shape the way you now coach and the way you consult?
Oh, absolutely. So I think at the very core of who I am as a person of faith is that I believe that everybody has a divine spark within them, that everybody is made in the image of a greater power, right? I believe that. Other people might not believe that, but I believe that. And because I believe that, then that means no matter who I encounter, who I'm supporting, who I'm coaching, who's invited me in to lead, I'm going to treat them as such. There is a divine spark within you, and you were crafted in the image of who I believe is the divine. And that's expansive. Like, I have an expansive spirituality and understanding of all of that. And so based on that, that's my departure point. So that means when I'm engaging folks, again, I take that coaching posture to say, well, who are you? What is it that matters most to you? Like, you have something of value and of worth to bring forward. So that would be the first thing that I would say. I would say the other thing is that it's inherent to my faith understanding is that we were not meant to do life alone. We were not meant to be isolated. So community, collaboration, care, right, are inherent to how I lead, to the work that we do with organizations, with leaders, right? So we've got the divine spark, we've got the community piece, and then we've got the piece that I love. So there is a scripture in the Christian Bible in the New Testament that we often joke about when Jesus is doing his thing and people are like, who are you and where does he come from? And they're like whispering, oh, that's Joseph's boy, like he's from Nazareth. And then there's like the scripture, nothing good comes from Nazareth, right? In my mind, one of the things that I really try to do is to remind people that they're not who they came from, that again, they get to shift their story, that there is value in their journey, and that again, what other people say does not negate the power that is inherently within. So those would be the three things that I think pull forward in the work that I do: the divine spark, the focus on community, collaboration, and care, and this recognition that people are not what their worst day. They're not the mistakes that they've made. And that ties into some forgiveness and restoration stuff as well.
Yeah, we ain't going down that rabbit hole because, but no, I mean, that is good. And you're welcome getting the word on a Thursday. Yes. But they all play into it. And what I really enjoy about what you're talking about is that you have your checkpoints and the things that you stand on. Like here at the US Space, it's our pillars. One of them is professionalism. We consider this AMA a great way to do professionalism because that way it helps validate you. It's really interesting how you can say, I'm good at something, I'm great at it. But then a person that you just meet and you tell about your business, they go and tell somebody, she's good at that, she's great at that. And then all of a sudden it validates you in another way. So I love that you were talking about, and you said departure point. I wrote that down because a lot of times, especially in business, when you meet people, it's the entrance point and how you're originally approaching somebody and how you start out with them and that first encounter. What do you mean by departure point?
I think that that's not the only point, or that's just a moment in time.
Got it.
Right. So as we're connecting, and it's interesting because we always talk about how first impressions are the most important.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know. I think that that's, I don't necessarily say that I want to say that that's true. I think first impressions are a point. They're a moment in time.
Let's go with this. Like in business, is the first impression the longest one? And before you answer, I'll say, as we're talking about this, I'm not sure it is, because a lot of people, they hear about your business and then they wait and they want to see and then maybe hear about it and then they will experience it. And that is the point of impression that feels most important.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's the embodied experience, right? So I can hear about something, I can see something, but until I've actually engaged it myself, right, that isn't where the thing clicks for me. Or until I've seen, what you've done for others, then it's like, oh, okay, then maybe that there is a connection there. But I do think sometimes we don't give people the benefit of the doubt, especially in our communities. And this recognition that for those of us who are Black and brown, we generally tend to be either first generation, second generation that are doing this type of work, or our family did not come from a space where business ownership was a thing. So we're learning on the job, and we don't have the, what's it called? Not the privilege. We don't have the
bandwidth.
No, not the bandwidth. What is it? People don't give us the courtesy, right? That they give those that have had the head start or that have been doing X, Y, and Z for generations. And I mean, I think our impressions matter. I don't ever want to act like that it doesn't matter.
Right.
But I think sometimes we put way too much emphasis
on the first impression.
Where
Where you get awkward. Let's be real. Like some people that put so much on the first impression, or you walk into a room and you're pitching your business so hard, it just gets super awkward. So slow down on that. I talk about networking and I do a keynote, and it's been a workshop and everything. It's called Networking, the Real Breakdown. And one of the things that I talk about is tapping into your superpower and finding a random point of connection with somebody before you even start talking about business. Like we could talk about weird girl Black shit all day, and then we can go into business stuff. So I think that that's one of those really important things. I love that you say that. So 2 more questions and then we're going to hop off. But if anybody has questions, go ahead and drop them in the links. I can see them both and we can talk through that stuff. Remember, this is AMA, which is Ask Me Anything for Business with the Us Space. I'm here with future Dr. Rozella White. My name is LaGina R. Harris. I am the founder of the Us Space, which is located here in downtown Houston. We have about 11,000 square feet of space where we have community, business education, co-working spaces, nap and meditation room, conference spaces, training spaces, and space for incubator. So if you are interested in learning anything about that, you can email us at hello@theusspace.com. Theusspace.com is also our website. So, all the things. The next question, this one was submitted, and I'm imagining a lot of people are going through this right now. Transitioning, getting fired from jobs. I believe we are up from 300,000, like 350,000 Black women that have been laid off or lost their jobs or been furloughed in the last
9 months.
6-7 months or so, and it keeps growing. How many degrees do you have?
I have 2. I only have 2.
No.
I have a ton of certifications.
So isn't this funny? 2. She said, I only have 2. Only, right?
Again, because I was in the academy. I was going to get my PhD.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she's moving into transitioning into finishing her doctorate. But I even find it culturally interesting that you say only. I have 3, and a lot of Black women I know are over-degreed and underpaid. So I believe this comes from a Black woman that just got laid off, and she's saying, I'm going through a career or business transition myself. How do I navigate the uncertainty without losing confidence? And that seems challenging to me because I lose confidence daily about something, and I'm gaining confidence daily about something. It seems like there's always this push and pull fight. And so what I really try to hold very certain to are the things that I'm confident about. And the other ones I just kind of let waver. Yeah.
No, and I would totally build on that, right? I think so much of this is about, again, I always go back to knowing who you are and being in communities, being in spaces like the Us Space that affirm who you are. Because if you're not in that, right, this external world wants nothing but to destroy us.
Not out here for me.
So if I'm not in spaces or places or with people that affirm that, right, it's easy for those voices in my head to get louder or for me to take on the negative that's around me.
Yeah.
And I think the habit sometimes is that we isolate when we're going through difficult times, when again, the call of community is what then breaks the isolation that we feel. It slowly chips away at it.
Ooh,
so
good.
When I think about being in a season of transition, I would ask because I'm a coach, I ask questions.
Got some 100s going up on the screen on this side. They like, yes.
Like who are your people, right? Do your people know what you're dealing with and struggling with, right? Because another thing is we suffer in silence. We struggle in silence. And that's something I refuse to do in this season and stage of my life. How are you engaging, or what are the practices you're engaging to remind you of who you are? And it could be as simple as affirmations. And sometimes we don't believe the affirmations when we first write them, but there is something literally that happens as we say them, as we're engaging with them.
I'm one of those people. I'd be like, this is not, I don't, I started doing the Issa Rae in the mirror. It really does work because I'll be like, oh,
yes. In previous seasons of my life, I would have on my mirror, I would write the affirmations in my bathroom with different lipsticks or markers. What are we taking in that is reminding us of who we are? What are we reading? What are we watching? I'm a big on a playlist, having a playlist that has all of the songs. Golden is one of them, both the Jill Scott and the K-pop Demon Hunters.
Not K-pop Demon Hunters.
I'm going to play it for her after the show because it's a thing. But curating, right? We get to curate our life. And then I think the caveat I would make is that if some of these things, if you can't do them, if they feel impossible, if it's not simply I'm losing confidence and, let me reach out to folks, I then think that, how are you taking care of your health? Because for me, when those things don't work, then I know, because I live with depression, that it's something more serious happening.
Yeah.
And so I need to reach out to my mental health providers and all of that. So again, though, I think community is the antidote for so many of the things that we struggle with.
I love that you say that. And it's just lingering with me that community is the antidote. Maybe can I take that and put that on there?
Yes.
Okay, it's recorded. I'm gonna play it back. Community is the antidote. So this serves up the question. I'm pretty sure I wrote this one, but as an US Space member, the US Space, how has being a part of this community supported your journey, especially during transitional seasons? And I'll say that on the side of the wins and the challenging losses, right? Because I know sometimes like you could stand up in the middle of everything and you had a win and you say it and it's like a party. So yeah, how has been being a part, or has it been helpful to you?
Absolutely, it's been helpful. I mean, one thing is the space, right? To be able to and I still work from home. I don't have an office space anywhere else. This is the office space. So to be able to get out of kind of where I work regularly, to be in a space that is professionally set up. So it's not like there's coffee grinding over here or this over there. That's one. I mean, two, it is the community, the various offerings that are held here. I I've done the Work Wednesday and the sessions that are offered. So we had done one on branding. And
the lunch and learns.
Yeah, lunch and learns. But the accountability work days where you're just kind of locked in and doing that. As a member, LaGina offers a one-on-one session to do some ideation and some reflection, and that's really helpful. And then there's some just social stuff because I really don't like to go outside. I'm a Cancer, I'm a crab. I literally want to be at home all the time. And part of it is I travel so much for work. So when I'm home, I don't want to leave. But to know that there are some opportunities for me to go out with people that are like-minded, that have similar interests, and to experience something new. Again, all of that goes back to dismantling the isolation that many of us feel, especially in this moment. And I kind of stand on community saves, and it does so in amazing ways.
I love it. Community saves. The US Space community saves. Just add it all in there. Okay, so this has been really, really good. We're winding down. I wrote down playlists because playlists are amazing. If you need a playlist, a vibey one, so Melanin Minds, we're both part of Melanin Minds. Go to melaninminds.org, scroll all the way to the bottom, and there are 4 or 5 years of playlists. Our first few were done by Risky Serial of All Real Radio, and our last couple have been done by Amanda Braun's production, DJ extraordinaire. And they are some vibey playlists. They put you in some good headspaces and really just have you at a point of joy. So if you need a playlist and you don't have time to curate it and you don't want an algorithm to do it, those have been touched by real human hands. So definitely do that. Have a question for you because you are in transition. We are and you're in the tech spaces in a unique way. And of course, we're doing Tuss House for the second year, October 28th through the 30th, if you didn't catch the beginning. And we have a panel that's for the US Space. And I would love for you to be on the panel just to talk through, tech enabled, how you're integrating tech into everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yes, it's recorded. We love that. Give it hearts. So yes, on that. Okay, so I want to thank you for being here, sharing your wisdom, because it's so unique, but it's exacting. So I'm really enjoying that in your story. Thank you for being open and always open on every platform to share your story. I'm assuming those 100s are because you're going to be at the house now too. I'll be locking everybody in. If you even phrase a little bit, I think I want to. I'm like, what? What do you want to do? For those watching, follow Rozella. Where?
I'm everywhere at Love Big Coach. The only place I'm not any longer is Twitter, X, whatever that is. But LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, yeah. And we're launching our new website, but you can connect with me currently at rozellahwhite.com. But I'm Love Big Coach across platforms.
Yeah, support her in her next chapter because I think it is so important that she is so transparent about her next chapter, but it's not wavering and it's not flaky, which I really enjoy. Because, sometimes people be like, I'm going to, and you're like, okay.
No,
so
it's strategic.
It's intentional. And I love that. Okay. And as always, stay connected to the US Space through our events, our newsletter. Come by, book a day pass, cling on to a member and have them come. If you, again, are interested in the incubator space, make sure that you reach out to us. We are going to open up our second round of incubators to start at the top of next year. So we're ready for that. And do you have anything else that you want to share closing?
I would just say, again, I keep going back to this moment that we're in, right? That's riddled with division, that's fear is being peddled everywhere. And it's easy for us to clock out. And I say that there's a both and that we can do. We can take care of ourselves. And I think community provides a lot of that. But we can also strategically engage in ways that are aligned with our gifts, with our purpose, and with our local communal needs. And that's what keeps us going in the midst of all of the other stuff that's happening.
I love that. Don't tap out, y'all. Stay engaged and find your peaceful ways of resistance and keep your autonomy and your mental health and wellness in your preffy and stay some type of fighting for happiness.
Yeah,
right?
No, always.
Yeah, for
always.
Sure. All right, make sure that you register for Tess House 28th through the 30th of this month. We have so much going on. You can find the information on the uspace.com. Thank you so much for being here. This has been so fun. AMA, Ask Me Anything for business with the Uspace. My name is LaGina R. Harris, founder of the Uspace. Come check us out. Until next time, thank you. Bye. Peace, you too.
I love it.